some basic knowledge of the Vedas and Vedic literature. Remember we had a class on literature? Yeah. Veda means knowledge. Veda means knowledge. It is a knowledge that already exists in nature before we were created. Okay? It is not somebody wrote Vedas. No. It is an unwritten book. Books. It is knowledge that is heard. You hear this in nature. It's called Shruti. Shruti means what you hear. It is not you read. So knowledge of sounds in nature, vibrations, different kinds of, okay? And those sounds have a meaning. Like Om is a sound. It is not somebody chanting Om. It's not that sound. It's that humming sound throughout nature. In modern science, it is called cosmic background radiation, CBR, which means that sound, that vibration is always there everywhere, whether you hear it or not. Okay? That humming sound. That sound is always there. So, Om is a heard sound, it is not spoken sound. You can approximate it by speaking. Om, that is not exactly Om, that is a tiny slice of Om. Okay? So Vedas are the knowledge that is heard and observed and understood. Then, whichever sages heard this, they taught their students. And their students heard and taught their students. So for thousands of years, this knowledge was spoken and heard and spoken and heard. Until about 6,000 years ago, or maybe earlier, there was a sage, I know personally, his name was Vedvyas. He put everything in writing. He put everything in writing. Yeah. And Ganesha wrote it. Vedvyas spoke, Ganesha wrote. In a cave near Badrinath, Joshimath, close to where recently a glacier broke off and created a lot of flood in the river there.
Recently?
Yeah,
A couple of weeks ago. But we have been there for a few days. Beautiful place. Beautiful is not a good word. Anyway, so coming back to Vedas. So Vedas have, listen, have 4 chapters. One chapter is mantra. Mantra is invocation. You awaken different powers of nature, right? So in one Veda, first mantra may be awakening energy, fire, prayer to sun, etc. Right? Second part of Vedas is called Brahmana. Brahmana means how to practice those mantras, how to practice those prayers and invocations, procedures. Third is Aranyak. Aranya means forest. So when the sages lived in forests, what they observed, they heard, they saw, they wrote about it or talked about it. Okay? Their own personal experience is Aranyak. The last part of Vedas, all the Vedas, is called Upanishad. And each Veda had many Upanishads, which means one sage He's teaching, one student is sitting nearby him. Upanishad, come sit near me and listen. So the student will ask a question, the teacher will either answer it or give him an assignment to do and come back after 6 months or 3 months. He say, okay, to understand this, you need to study this, you need to do this, go do it for a few months, then come back. That also happened. So there were thousands and thousands of Upanishads. Because if there are 10 or 20 rishis around at that time, then they had students one by one coming. They didn't only have one student, many students, but they taught one at a time. So there are many Upanishads. Some are short, some are long. Some are like only 2 pages, 5 questions, 5 answers. Some are 50 questions, 50 answers. Okay? But today we have only about 108 or about a little bit more than 100 only left Upanishads. And in my library, I have just about all of them. So whenever you are interested, you can study it. So one of the Upanishads, and out of those 108, 10 are considered most important. And out of those 10, one is called Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya. So in Chandogya Upanishad is the beautiful story of Shvetaketu. His father was also a sage. His name was Aruni Uddalaka. But normally, even if the father is very intelligent, very learned person, he would still send his son to study with another teacher.
Why is that?
Because they think they will learn from another teacher better than from the father.
Do you listen to your dad more or your mom dad more?
Yeah. For discipline and to be away for some time, not get distracted with staying nearby. So he sent his son to,
A tutor.
not a tutor, a rishi. Yeah. And after 8 or 10 years, when he learned everything, he came back. And when he came back, he acted like he knows everything, you know. So he was
I
kind of,
know his father.
he was kind of looking down on everybody. He said, "Father, I have learned everything. I can debate with any scholar in your kingdom, you know, just." So father said, you think you know everything? Then tell me, how you hear that can never be heard with your ears? How do you hear which cannot be heard through ears? He said, oh, I don't know. How do you see which cannot be seen through your eyes? He said, oh no, I don't know that.
I can see.
So he asked him question after question, and Shvetaketu said, sorry father, I really don't know. But you know, I think it might teacher's fault because he should have told me these things. Maybe he doesn't know either. He said, no, he knows. You haven't learned from him. He said, how do you know something which you cannot see, but it is there? And for each of these questions, so he said, Father, please teach me now. So one by one he teaches. He brought some water and salt. He said, okay, mix the salt in the water. Yes. Now taste it. How does it taste? He said, taste salty water. He said, but where is salt? Can you show me the salt in the water? No, I cannot. But it's there, you know, right?
It's there.
So you cannot see it, but you can taste it. You know it's there. And many ways he answered. Then he said, okay, I will summarize all my questions in one question. I won't say, how do you do this, if that. What is that by knowing which everything becomes known? That's the master question.
That's because he knows
So, Shwetakar, is that really possible? That you know one thing, and when you know that, everything becomes known to you. He said, yes, there is one thing. And that is you, Shwetaketu. You know yourself, and you know everything else. So in Sanskrit, that phrase, there are 4 such phrases in the Vedas. It's called the great truths, Mahavakya. One of them is Tat Tvam Asi. That, Tat means that, Tvam means you, Asi means are. That you are, by knowing which all becomes known. There is a longer version of the story which I will tell you